Let me ask you something, and be honest. Have you ever sat in school thinking, why am I even doing this? Or, I'm trying, I really am, but I still feel behind. Or, no one ever taught me how to do school. I'm Wes. My students call me Dr. Coop. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Most students aren't bad at school. They were just never taught how to be effective students. And today, I want to change that. Hold on to your hats, or your hoodies. You've just entered Oakley Learning Academy. Schools make it seem like success is all about being smart, getting good grades, or just trying harder. But if that were true, everyone who tried hard would succeed. And that's not reality. The real difference between students who struggle and students who thrive, it isn't intelligence, it's skills. Skills like managing your emotions, staying motivated when things get hard, taking responsibility without someone chasing you, actually knowing how to learn, not just memorize or cheat. Those skills aren't automatic, they're trainable, and that's where OLA-SAGA comes in. OLA stands for Oakley Learning Academy, and SAGA, Student Accountability and Growth Assessment. But don't let the long name fool you. All it really means is this. OLA-SAGA teaches you how to take control of your learning, instead of school controlling you. It's not about being perfect, it's about getting better, on purpose. And that's OLA-SAGA, baby. That's OLA-SAGA. OLA-SAGA, baby! OLA-SAGA! OLA-SAGA is built on 4 skills, and every successful student has them, whether they realize it or not. These aren't school skills, these are life skills. Let's break these skills down with a short story that we've created. It's called The Hall of Choices. You do like stories, don't you? Let's head down to the studio and check it out.
Today, we're going to dive into a story about 4 students who basically stumble into this mysterious place that forces them to face the one thing they've been avoiding, the choices that actually define who they are. Okay, so let's set the scene. Picture this, it's a Tuesday morning in room 214. The bell is way too loud, the fluorescent lights are buzzing, and you've got 4 students, each completely lost in their own world, fighting these silent battles they think nobody else could possibly understand. It feels just like any other day, but trust me, it's not going to be. All right, first up, let's meet Jax. You know this kid, he's basically a master of the invisible. Hood up, eyes down. For him, school isn't about learning, it's about surviving. Getting called on by the teacher? Yeah, that's a risk he's just not willing to take. His whole strategy is simple, just check out. And then we have Amina. Oh man, her planner is practically glued to her hand. Every single task is calculated. She's super driven, for sure, but her entire motivation comes from one place, what other people think. If it's not going to be graded, in her mind, it's completely pointless. It feels like a total waste of time, even a trap. Okay, next up is Theo. Now, Theo is sharp. He's a really smart guy, but his biggest enemy, it's his own anxiety. I mean, just the thought of a quiz can send him into a total spiral. And when that panic hits, everything he knows just evaporates. His performance completely crumbles. That fear of failure is this huge wall he just keeps running into. And last but not least, meet Riley. Riley is so creative, but when things get tough, that creativity becomes an escape route. Instead of tackling those tricky math problems, you'll find him sketching these incredible dragons all over the worksheet. It's a classic avoidance strategy, right? A way to build a little artistic fortress against anything that feels, well, too hard. So here's the thing. Jax, Amina, Theo, Riley, it's easy to look at them and think, oh, that's just their personality, right? But what if it's not? What if these are just habits? Habits that have grown out of a few missing skills.
Those missing skills make all the difference. Think about it. Adults track everything. Grades, behavior, attendance, test scores. And in all of that, you have to ask yourself, did anyone ever really teach you how to focus? How to bounce back after failure? How to stay motivated when school feels pointless? How to deal with stress or frustration? So what happens? Well, many students end up doing one of three things: shutting down, doing the bare minimum, or letting others control their effort. OLA-SAGA fixes that by putting you back in control.
Okay, so you've got these 4 kids, each in their own little world, and then everything gets turned upside down. The classroom walls, they literally start talking to them, asking these super personal, kind of uncomfortable questions.
The lights flicker, go out, and when they come back on, the classroom is gone. In its place, a long, endless hallway filled with doors. Welcome to the Hall of Choices.
And each door has one of their names on it. In this place, there's no hiding. They're forced to face the one person who's truly responsible for what happens next, themselves.
And the #1 rule of this place is crystal clear. No teacher, no friend can open these doors for you. That choice is yours and yours alone.
Now get this, each door is basically a physical version of the student's inner world. Jax's door is all beat up and damaged, reflecting his whole why even bother attitude. Amina's is this heavy, reinforced vault, showing how she guards herself.
But man, it looks like it weighs a ton. Think bank vault. It's the perfect symbol for her mindset. She is so locked into getting good grades that she has literally reinforced her own door against anything new or uncertain.
And Theo's door, oh, it's a mess. It is just rattling in its frame, constantly shaking. It's the perfect, tragic picture of his anxiety. His fear of failing is so intense that his entire sense of self feels unstable, like it could fall apart at any second.
Riley's door is something else entirely. It's covered, and I mean covered, in these beautiful, intricate drawings. So much so, you can't even find the doorknob. For Riley, art isn't just a passion, it's a fortress, a way to hide from challenges that just feel like too much.
And then this question starts glowing on the walls. It's their first real test. See, in here, you can't blame the teacher. You can't blame the test. You can't say, oh, I'm just not good at this. The key, the whole point, is that those doors only open from the inside. They have to be the ones to make a choice. They have to take ownership. And this, right here, is a perfect intro to our very first skill, self-leadership. Now, this isn't about being a boss or telling other people what to do. Nope. It's about being the CEO of you. It's about learning how to guide your own thoughts, your own actions to get where you want to go. Honestly, this is the foundation. Everything else is built on top of this.
So a new message appears on the walls.
Self-leaders, step forward.
You are in the driver's seat of your own life.
And that's the key to turning the lock.
But here's the thing. These doors have 2 locks. The first one is respect. And it's not about some fluffy self-love thing. It's simpler. It's about acknowledging your own fears and your own struggles without beating yourself up over them. The second lock is responsibility.
And then, in a twist nobody saw coming, it's Jax. The one who acts like he cares the least. He's the one who steps up. He very reluctantly accepts responsibility, and just by moving toward his own door, he unlocks the path for everyone else. He completely changes the dynamic of the group.
Self-leadership means you don't wait to be forced. You take responsibility. You do what needs to be done. You adjust when things don't go your way. Self-leadership is based on 4 skills: respect, responsibility, resourcefulness, and resolve. You've probably heard resolve called grit or determination. Translation for all that? Respect. You respect yourself. Responsibility? You own your choices. Resourcefulness? You figure things out. Resolve? You don't quit when things get hard. This is the foundation. Everything else depends on it.
Okay, on to the next challenge. Just as Jax takes that step, the hall changes again. The air gets heavy. You can feel it. And suddenly, all those things the students are feeling on the inside, all that fear, all that anxiety, it starts to become real. It starts to take physical form right there in the room with them. A new message glows into view. And then, get this. Riley's quiet fear literally peels off the floor and becomes a living, moving shadow. And Theo's panic, it's not just in his head anymore. The floor beneath them literally starts to crack and splinter. Their emotions have become a real, tangible threat. So, in this moment, you have to ask, are feelings the enemy? I mean, it sure looks that way. Their emotions are acting like these monsters, trying to completely sabotage them. And isn't that how we often feel about our emotions? You know, that they're just these messy things that get in the way of thinking clearly. But is that really the whole story? Turns out, no. The hall shows them something deeper.
You can't fight an emotion into submission. It doesn't work. The more you fight it, the stronger it gets. But the second Amina gets Riley to just name it, to say out loud, "I'm terrified," the shadow actually shrinks. It loses its power. The same thing happens with Theo. Once he names his panic, the floor stops cracking beneath him.
These emotional monsters, they're not there to be fought off. They're signals, they're messages that just need to be understood. The simple act of naming the feeling takes away its power. And that brings us right to skill number 2, emotional intelligence. It's really the ability to do 3 things. Notice your feelings, understand what they're trying to tell you, and then manage how you respond. And it's not about ignoring your feelings or pretending you're a robot. It's about listening to them, understanding what they're trying to tell you, and then choosing what to do. It's about using your emotions as data.
That's right. Emotions are not the enemy. But let's be real. Emotions run school. Stress before tests, frustration with homework, anger, anxiety, boredom, pressure. Emotional intelligence means you can notice what you're feeling and understand why, and manage it instead of letting it control you. That's how strong students stay calm, focused, and confident, even under pressure. Now let's get back to our story, to the next challenge.
The next room is dominated by this huge, cracked mirror.
But when they look into it, they don't see themselves. They see possible futures, stagnant, kind of sad versions of themselves, who they might become if they just gave up or drifted along with no real direction. And here's the next test. These shiny, shimmering threads appear out of nowhere and start pulling them backward, away from the mirror. Each thread represents some external pressure. Grades, what their parents want, the fear of messing up. The only way they can move forward is to find a reason that's stronger than the pull, a reason that comes from inside them. They need to find their own why.
So the hall lays it all out for them. There are 2 kinds of motivation. You've got your external fuel, grades, pressure, avoiding failure. The hall calls this a chain. It'll drag you along, sure, but it's heavy and unsustainable. Then there's internal motivation. That's the stuff that comes from inside you. Your own curiosity, your own purpose. That's not a chain, it's a flame. It's only when each student finds that internal reason to move forward that the threads finally snap.
It's all about making a shift from extrinsic motivation. That's doing something for a reward, like a good grade or to avoid punishment, to intrinsic motivation. That's when you do something just because you find it meaningful, because it's satisfying to you personally.
And that leads to one of the most powerful lessons from the hall. Real, lasting motivation, it isn't loud. It's not a coach yelling at you or a deadline breathing down your neck. It's that quiet, steady pull you feel when no one else is even looking. As they each find their purpose, a warm flame appears inside them.
And who has the big breakthrough? Amina. Her entire school life has been driven by grades. It was like a chain of external pressure holding her back. But in this moment, she finally realizes her real purpose. And with that new internal fire, the chain just dissolves. She's free. She can move forward completely on her own.
Wouldn't you like to dissolve your chains and develop that internal flame? Motivation isn't about hype. It comes from 3 things. Belief, I can do this. Control, this is my choice. Purpose. This actually matters. OLA-SAGA helps you connect school to your future, not just your next assignment. When you understand your why, effort changes. So what's next for our characters? For Jax, Amina, Riley, and Theo? Let's find out.
So that inner fire, that purpose, leads them to the final challenge. They walk into what looks like their school, but it's all twisted into this crazy, unstable maze. And this maze is designed to teach them the fourth and final skill, self-regulated learning.
And this is where they learn a really tough truth. Motivation is great, it gets you in the door, but it's not enough to get you through the hard parts. It's self-regulation, having an actual strategy for doing the work that determines if you make it through the maze.
Now, in this maze, just try harder is terrible advice. In fact, it's dangerous. If they just rush ahead without thinking, the floor literally falls out from under them. So, they're forced to learn that real learning is a deliberate cycle. You gotta have a plan.
It's basically a 4-step cycle. Step 1, plan. Figure out your approach before you dive in. Step 2, perform. Do the thing, but pay attention to how it's going. Step 3, reflect. Stop and think about what worked and what didn't. And finally, step 4, retain. Make sure you actually remember what you learned. This cycle, this is their map to get through the maze. So at one point, Theo rushes, makes a small mistake, and almost falls into a trap. And that forces the whole group to stop and use that reflection step. Okay, why did he slip? Well, he was rushing. And in that moment, it clicks for them.
The maze literally throws their past failures at them, crawling out of the shadows. But instead of running, they learn to actually look at them. And they realize a mistake isn't a final grade on your life, it's just data. It's information you can use to do better next time. Reflection is what turns an error into a strategy. And then comes the final piece of the puzzle, one that, let's be honest, we all tend to forget. They're exhausted. And the hall teaches them that just pushing through, grinding without a break, that's not persistence. That's just a direct flight to burnout. Strategic rest isn't laziness. It's a critical part of the learning cycle.
Self-regulated learning is a skill that turns effort into results. It's a simple loop. Plan what you're doing. Do the work while checking yourself. Reflect and adjust. Strong students don't just work harder, they work smarter. OLA-SAGA gives you the tools to do that.
The hall's final message is both humbling and really empowering. It basically tells them, look, you are going to forget these lessons. You will fail again. And that is exactly why they have to choose to practice these skills, to come back to them day after day. Growth isn't a place you finally arrive at. It's just something you do. And just like that, they're back. A bell rings. They're sitting in their seats in room 214. The lights are buzzing overhead. The whiteboard is clean. If you were looking from the outside, you'd say absolutely nothing has changed. But on the inside, oh yeah, everything is different. The world hasn't changed, but they have. They now have the awareness, and they have the tools to make new choices, to decide who they want to be as learners and as people. The power is finally theirs.
And here's the ultimate lesson from the whole experience. The hall makes it really clear. You didn't win or graduate. These skills aren't things you master once and then you're done. Growth is a practice. You're gonna fail again. You're gonna forget these things, and that's okay. The whole point isn't to be perfect. It's just to keep coming back to the practice. So, to recap, what did they leave with? 4 keys that all fit together. It all starts with self-leadership. You have to own your journey. That opens the door to emotional intelligence, so you can understand your feelings instead of just fighting them. That understanding helps you find your real internal motivation. And you fuel all of that with the smart, active cycle of self-regulated learning.
Which, kind of leaves us with a big question for ourselves, doesn't it? If the Hall of Choices appeared for you, right now, today, what would your door look like? And what would it say about your fears, your strengths, and your own readiness to learn?
What would your door look like? What would my door look like? Is there a practice that you could begin working on right now? OLA-SAGA can help with that. How? Because when students use OLA-SAGA, confidence grows, stress drops, focus improves, and grades follow. Not because someone forced them, but because they finally understand themselves as learners. That's real power. Here's the challenge. Stop waiting for school to change. It won't. Instead, start building the skills that put you in control. Because being a strong student isn't about talent, it's about training. Welcome to Oakley Learning Academy. Welcome to OLA-SAGA, baby. Now let's start building the student you're capable of becoming.